Right, and I am recording. Can't get these transitions right because I'm on a laptop, but welcome back to the Counter Strike Casuals podcast. Episode, don't know, lost count. But it is the end of the year, or the last podcast of the year. And what a year it's been, eh? How are you?
Good, mate. Yeah, pretty good. Um, you're in a different location, mate. How's that feeling?
Yeah, it's alright. I've basically been drunk for a week, so it's been a bit of a mad week. To be honest with you, I'm a bit out of the loop of what's happening in the world, um, in and out of Counter Strike. But yeah, I'm surviving. I've just landed up north in sunny Yorkshire to begin my Christmas festivities and stay with the in-laws for a bit before travelling back down south and seeing my family. So yeah, I'm actually just doing this at the moment from my in-laws' dining room. We're having dinner and it's one of those situations. We're having dinner, and it's like I got here today at 4 p.m. and then I was like, "Oh, it's my wife. Do they know that I need to record a podcast?" She's like, "Have you told them that you need to record a podcast?" I'm like, "Guys, I need to record a podcast." And yeah, can you?
They seem pretty cool though. Like from what you've said, they seem pretty laid back.
Yeah, I'm just turn you down a bit because I didn't do a sound check, and I think it just went to red. So I'm gonna turn you
Yeah,
down a bit.
Pe-
Um,
people do complain about me being a bit loud, but
Yeah, yeah. Although you've got the same headset as me now. But hang on. Anyway, sorry if that spiked a bit. I've turned you down a bit, so it should level out. Yeah, so I was like, okay, should we get this table cleared up, guys? Have we all had enough? No dessert for anyone, right? And just quickly got the room turned around, and here I am. We're recording. We make do.
nice, mate. I like the dedication.
Yeah, wow. I mean, a bit of a letdown last week because I was basically drunk every day. So I couldn't
It's
really do
alright.
much.
It's Christmas. People will forgive you.
So what's been happening in the world of Counter Strike since I've been
Well, it does feel
at the
like
pub?
forever ago. Yeah, it does feel like forever ago because of your antics, mate. But we had Blast,
Yes.
the Premier Fall finals, was it?
Yeah. So the blast, there was the world finals over in Abu Dhabi, right? Um,
Yes.
which I must admit, I probably watched 4 rounds of some game that I can't remember, and I can't even remember why or when I had it on at all. It might have been just whilst I was like making some hangover food. I don't even know, but I can't
You
remember.
were up to date though. I felt like you were up to date with every result.
I was keeping an eye on it, but then again, that got wiped out of my memory from
Well,
just like
well,
yeah.
let's touch on that then. If you weren't really following it, did anything stand out to you?
The only thing that stood out to me was I think the I expected G2 to go further. Um, I don't know why. I just thought they'd go a bit further than they did. I thought they'd get to semis. I expected FaZe and Vitality to have a deep run. I was hoping it'd be them in the final because they're just the best two teams in the world at the moment. But other than that, not really. It was Glaive's first showing for Ents. I didn't expect that to kick off too much. Um, Maybe Cloud9 to beat Mouse if I would have had down, but Mouse beat them pretty convincingly. Generally, not really anything stood out. Vitality didn't drop a map. That's pretty mental. I kind of expected the final to be a bit tighter than it was when I looked back and saw the results and who performed well and who didn't. But when you look back, Vitality didn't drop a map. It's just
Yeah, I
pretty mad.
feel like when Swiss came out and tweeted that Robs was the best player on CS2, I think Zywu took it personally because he's been going ham since then.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, they've been really good. I mean, they had a little wobble at the start, but they've been smashing it. Also, they've been consistently playing well. And when you look back at teams like Ents, you kind of go, oh, they didn't do too well. Glaive wasn't playing amazing and he's just come on board. Is it his fault? And then all this roster mania comes out and you're like, ah, okay. So that's what's going on. You
yeah.
were all leaving, so you probably, weren't that bothered. Your heart probably wasn't in it. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't, but yeah, that kind of makes more sense. What about Cloud9? What's your opinion on them?
Well, again, I didn't watch much of it, but I know Electronic was kicking off and doing well. But I kind of expected after their last performance, the last tournament, to do a bit better than they did here. I thought they'd beat Mouse and get into the semis, but then they didn't. Just going back to Vitality quickly though, Zaire was MVP, right? But when you look back at
Yeah.
some of the other results, Mezzi was up there, Flamesy was up there for a few other games, Spinks. Mezzi was second against Cloud9 behind Saiwu. They're top against Navi in the group stages. So they've all, mate, even in the semi-finals when they played Navi again, Apex was banging in the ratings. So they've all actually, as a team, been playing really well, which is actually quite
Which
worrying.
that's that's them though. They have got such a good team. I mean, maybe Apex doesn't pop off that often, but
No.
he can. Like we know he has the ability. He was an entry fragger before he was an in-game leader, and we know he can pop off. Messi, as we know, excuse me, as we know, is a phenomenal player as well. And then Spinks and Flames, like literally any one of them can frag. Like they're all ridiculous. So they are a really stacked squad. But saying that's our phase.
Yeah. Um, and obviously this was FaZe's first outing with Frozen as well, and yeah, Frozen look. It doesn't. Frozen looks at home. It doesn't look that worrying without twists. Really, I think you would have expected them to do better in the final against Vitality, but maybe at least taking it to 2-1, at least winning a map. But these things happen. It's their first land tournament, proper tournament with Frozen in the mix, so not the end of the world. I don't think any FaZe fans could be too disappointed there and expect like they should have won it. They got to the final, which was probably the expectation that or to win it, and they did well. So fair play to them. Um, but yeah, overall, I wish I'd watched more. I might. Now we're on a bit of a quieter time. I actually might watch some of it back, but it does feel like a weird period at the moment where there's been again a new load of changes, and with the major run coming up, it feels like it's just you might as well just relax, not worry too much about the past, just focus on effectively what's coming up, which is the major cycle or whatever you want to major season, I guess, which is what's going to be the exciting thing. But I might watch a bit back of it if I can find some time. But I also want to find some time for some actual gaming over this Christmas period rather than just watching and talking about stuff. Um,
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? If you've got a spare, you know, couple of hours, you're probably going to play rather than watch.
yeah, absolutely. And they've done some more updates, so I don't know how the state of the game is at the moment. I don't know what it's saying. I feel again a bit out of the loop of it all. So definitely want to jump back in and
Yeah,
see.
I've, yeah, we had some issues. Well, they have had some issues, but we we won't go into that because I think neither of us have done too much looking into it, and I think they ironed out any issues pretty rapid.
Yeah. Um,
Uh, but yeah, before we move off this, so you say you thought G2 would have done better. They lost to Mouse, then they lost to FaZe, and then in what? How did they get on? Did they beat anybody? They lost to Navi as well in the quarterfinals, which, to be honest, most of those games you would have thought they would have won. Sorry, I said they lost to Mouse. They didn't. They beat Mouse. Apologies. And then they lost to FaZe.
well, maybe it's the JKS effect, you know. Maybe it's the fact that they haven't got JKS doing his job and Nexa just doesn't seem that good. Shock horror. So I don't know. Look, it's interesting to see how they perform now. Swanee's leaving as well, and Taz is coming in.
Yeah, they've just got a new coach, haven't they?
Yeah,
Well, Taz wasn't here for Blast, was he?
I think he was there like shadowing or just watching them. I don't know how much input he would have had. I doubt he's there like giving too much influence or direction. If he literally just joined, and Swanee was still there coaching. So I suspect he just had a bit of a shadow role or just to learn the ropes or see what the vibe is within the team. Um, I don't know what to say about G2, man. I just feel like the way, and it could be the rhetoric around it all with Sponge and stuff and what he's come out with, but it feels like the way they've handled it's been quite poorly with JKS, and I think everyone's a bit surprised by that move. So to see them I mean, when you actually look at the guys that played in this tournament, this was a quite a big tournament for good teams. There's a lot of good teams here, right? And when you look at the last group, the quarterfinals through to the grand final, all those teams are proper good teams. So you would expect them to get to semis, I guess, but it's not. I don't know. Maybe I've been a bit dramatic about it all, but yeah, they've got Nexa, and I don't think Nexa's that good. That's the reality of it.
Well, I also feel like G2 at the moment, they seem to be, a lot of teams are mixing things up and playing different map pools that they wouldn't normally play as well. So maybe they're still testing things out for the major, trying to get a bigger map pool so they don't have any weak maps.
Potentially.
Yeah,
Potentially.
so yeah, I mean, we got a good look at a lot of teams. Cloud9 have been impressing us until this tournament. Ents didn't impress us. They've kind of taken a big hit. They did a poll, HLTV did a poll on Snappy for Glaive, like was it an upgrade, downgrade, or about the same? And I think a lot of people were saying it was about the same. What do you think? Do you think it's an upgrade or downgrade or about the same?
No, I think it's a downgrade because it's Snappy's better than Glaive.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
facts. I mean, Glaive just had his Australis era and you know playing
I
coaching
mean,
that.
the Astralis era wasn't like something just to brush over. That was
No, I agree
pretty
with you,
turning
but
back.
Snappy's also built Ents from a kind of ground up to make
Yeah,
them a consistent top three, four
yeah.
team
He was pretty well known as like he
with
kind of built that team. He helped build that team. He
with the
had quite a
different
lot of support.
nationalities and different people, not just
Yeah,
Danish mates, and also in probably a more competitive Counter Strike environment than Astralis. Astralis almost had they set the trends for those eras, right? And those areas where that's all been set now, so there's less to work out. Do you know what I mean? So I think Snappy over Glaive definitely.
yeah. So I think what does this tournament tell us overall? It feels like Vitality and FaZe are the teams to beat because when you look at a team like GE2 and we're saying they disappointed us, Nico's kind of finding his feet. He's playing a little bit better than he has been, but is that enough? We need him. We need Nico popping off, but we also need Monacy. We need we need even Nexa. Um,
Well, you need
and
Nico, Hunter, and Monacy, that core, don't you? At least
but
performing
yeah, but
together.
Huxley also needs to do well. Like, I mean, you're competing against Apex and Vitality with Zywoo. Like, we just went through how stacked they are. That's any team that's looking to be the best are looking to be better than Vitality and FaZe, basically.
Yeah, and
Um,
I think the only other
so
team that comes close is Mouse as well. I think it's comfortably Vitality, Phase, Mouse top three at the moment. It seems Vitality and Phase interchanging between the top one.
well, yeah, and I mean that kind of brings us on to the roster changes. So we're looking at these teams that are going to compete against FaZe and Vitality. We're saying Mouse, they've just lost Frozen, so whether they can keep competing, um, we will see.
Yeah, is there any actual? I don't even know if there's any rumours around who they're going to bring in to replace him. Actually, I'm not sure what
Uh,
the again I'm out the loop, so I'm not sure who it would be, and I can't think of to my head who would fill
I
that
mean,
role.
they've got Brolin on a temporary contract, but I really don't see him staying. I mean, if he really impressed them during this Blast tournament, then maybe, but he wasn't. He wasn't that impressive for me anyway. Um, Shuhei was on a podcast. Can't remember which one, but he was on a podcast and he was saying they're working on it. So the work. It sounded like he was very very careful in the words he was choosing. He was very
Politician
political.
answers. Yeah.
Yeah, he was very political the way he was answering. But the vibe I got was they're looking at replacing Frozen and not with Brolin. I think they might keep Brolin if he does well, but that's unlikely. So we'll see. I think that'll come out soon. But we've had loads of roster changes. I mean, we touched on Ents. not doing too well, and as we all know, some Pius and Madden has gone to Falcons.
Yeah,
And
that's a hell of a team now at Falcons.
yeah, so that news came out first, and I was like, what about Nerds? Like, surely you would want Nerds. And then we found out Nerds is going to Heroic.
Yep.
So let's stick on the Falcons trade first before we get carried away with ourselves, because we could go through loads of trades right now. What do you think about the Falcons team now? They've
I
got a
think
full
that
five players now, right?
yeah, Boros, Snappy, Sampass, Madden, and Magisk. I mean that's a sick team. That's actually just a good team. Like they look solid. And with that core from Ents going over, I almost feel like Snappy's work is like almost done, right? And then with Sonic behind them, that's fucking yeah. And the thing about that is it means it gets them into the RMRs straight off the bat, right? Because they've kept that Ents core. So mate,
Yep.
it's a smart move, and I don't know, it just looks dangerous. I think that they, if they can just get into the swing of things straight away, mate, they have a deep run at that major, you know.
I mean, it's Ents with Magis and Boros, so you've swapped
Yeah, and Sonic,
Nerds. Yeah, as Sonic said,
best
so you've
coach of all
swapped Boros
time.
and Magis for Diha and Nerds.
Yeah,
And
the
to
only
be
loss
fair,
there is you probably would want Nerds instead of Boros, right? But other than that, it's like pretty good.
yeah, I mean, Boris is a good player as well. So, but yeah, Nerds is insane. Like I really rate Nerds. I think he's sick. So yeah, we both agreed that's a pretty sick team. Can it compete with um, Vitality? Don't know. Time will tell. But you touched on the RMRs. They're looking pretty exciting, man. It should be a good major.
Yeah. No,
Um,
definitely. But no, your boy Nuts has gone to heroic, no, with another former fanatic friend of yours as well. So that's I don't know. What's your vibes on that? So heroic side Nuts and Nikodos. How do you actually pronounce that? Nikodos.
Nicolas, yeah,
Nikodos.
I think so. Yeah,
Which we,
Nicolas is a good player. Like, he's really good. I don't think they're not going to be the same. That's for sure. But at least they're trying to stay competitive slightly.
yeah,
I think when we found out about the trade, I think I said to you, like, I don't know what Heroic are trying to do.
yeah, it's a
The
bit
fact
weird.
that the fact they've got Nerds, and I think Nikodas he went to Prezi,
Yeah, Preezy, which
just
is like
Prezi.
which was like the almost up and coming Danish team, right? I almost started backing them as like the best Danish team, the way they were going.
Yeah, and then so I was like, what are they doing? Like, I don't know what they're trying to do. Are they still trying to compete? And it looks like they are.
Mm.
I mean, they've still not got an in-game leader, have they?
No in-game leader. So
So
I don't know.
there's
And
still
again,
a
I don't
massive
even know who they're
question
bringing for
mark
that.
there. Yeah, there's still a massive question mark there, I think. So they've, I thought they might be doing it to kind of get in the RMRs as well for the same reason, but they're not in the RMRs, are they?
No, they don't qualify because they've not got three core. There's no three core players there, right? So that doesn't work. But yeah, I don't know. I think watch this space, but overall, I actually think the loser of all this is potentially Nerds, actually, and I think Nerds could have gone to. Mate, imagine Nerds like at a G2 instead of that Nexa move. Like that's a sexy move.
I think Heroic have thrown some money out to get these two, to be honest. Because if you think about it, Nikodas has just gone to Prezi.
Yeah.
They must have paid a bit for him. He must have been in a contract. And
Maybe.
a lot of people were after Nerds. There was a lot of rumours flying around that loads of people were after Nerds. So I really don't know why Nerds has gone here. It must have. It doesn't sound like it's been a choice.
I just think he's, like I said, he's the loser out of all this. I'm just not sure what he gains from it other than maybe a little pay rise or whatever, because I don't think Hence were the best payers. And you're joining a confused, leaderless top 15 Counter-Strike team. That's how it feels to me.
Yeah, I mean, Shush is good. Nikodos is a pretty good AWPer, but yeah, they could maybe get into the top 10. But like we said, they're not competing with the top teams.
And if Nerds actually said to like the top 5 to 8 teams, my door's open, come chat to me. I don't know if he did that, but if he did, then I suspect he would have had quite a few offers. And if he chose Heroic, fuck me, they've given him a good sales pitch at the old head office there to be like, yeah, let's sign up and do it, because I wouldn't do it. I'd almost fancy my chances staying at Ents with the new 9 core and just trying to apply my trade there and be the superstar at that.
Well,
This heroic team is not better than the new Ents team with that 9 core in, I don't think.
yeah, I'm thinking maybe it was just a money thing, and Ents just sold him because they needed the money. Basically, they wanted to stay. Ents wanted to stay in the major, and they saw an opportunity to do it with 9, and sold him just to bring some money in.
Yeah.
So, go on. You've mentioned Ents. We've just mentioned them with the 9 core. So what have they done?
Well, they've basically acquired the 9 core, so they've got in Goofy, Kyler, and Haley's to basically bring in instead of some Pius Madden and Nerds. We did forget one big thing with the Nerds stuff. It does also Saw went from Ents, right? So there's that Ents connection with Nerds and Saw as the coach. So maybe that's also it. And I might be a bit dramatic because Shush is obviously a really good player. But generally, I agree with you. It's just a bit of a confused, not really sure how good this is going to be, but time will tell. But yeah, so Ents have acquired the 9 core, which is fine, right? I mean, it's a sensible business move because it means they can go into the European RMRs without having to qualify for that. Well, go for the closed qualifiers. So sensible business move. I can't imagine the 9 guys cost them a lot of money as well. So Ents have probably done quite well.
They're not bad. Hades is a weird one. I do feel like Hades underperforms. I think he could do better than he actually does. Excuse me. Yeah, Hades could do better than he actually does. I don't know, but I kind of feel for Glaive, to be honest. He's like just got back in tier 1 Counter Strike, and he's like, yeah, I'll be the leader of Ents. Of course I will.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And all my team leaves.
I wonder if he did know something, or there was some conversations to be like, oh, look, heads up, this is what's going to happen, or this is what we're working on. You know what I mean?
I do hope so. Otherwise, yeah, it's a bit. It's not going to look good, is it? He's not going to feel good about the organisation if they didn't tell him anything. So yeah, Diha, Glaive, Hades, Kyla, and Goofy, which is a pretty mediocre team.
Yeah.
I mean, not the worst in the world, but yeah.
It's not riveting, is it? I'm not super excited. I'm not buying their jersey, put it that way.
Yeah, unless they do well in the major, then you will.
Yeah. Then it's some clear order.
Okay, so what else have we got? Oh, pretty big news. Which did we mention? The Bet Boom tournament. The MVP of the Bet Boom tournament was.
I can't remember when that was, mate. When was that?
Was Donk.
Oh, Donk the boy.
And who has his team just acquired?
So Sharo's just gone there, right? Which makes fucking.
Shiro has just gone to Spirit, and yeah, they're looking good. I mean, a young team as well.
How's Shiro then?
Shiro's 22, mate.
Fair
Yeah,
enough.
you'd think he was older because he feels like he's been around forever. But they got rid of Art Frost for Shiro, and Art Frost, I'm pretty sure at BetBoom was their best player.
He's a good player.
He was good anyway. He's a good player, but it's Shiro.
Yeah, exactly. Who's been one of the best players, best AWPers of the last few years. So fair play, man. Yeah, very exciting team, right? I mean, we love
Yeah,
Donk. So
yeah. I don't think we did too much on the bet beam. I can't remember who it is.
no, I don't think so.
Been
Because
in
again,
since
it's just
last time. Feels like we've not been here for a while, but yeah, Donk was MVP anyway, and that was like his first big LAN at tier one, right?
I think it's second land. I don't know if this was probably the strongest pool of players. I think.
Yeah, and he did pretty well. He
Yeah.
got MVP. He wasn't like his usual 1.6 rating or whatever he usually is, the ridiculous rating he is, but he was good. Uh, he kind of showed people that he can hold his own against tier one teams, good tier one teams. Um, did you watch the interview with him? Did you?
Yeah. So the interview. Which one was it when he was talking about the garbage, the tier two, tier three garbage stuff?
Yeah,
Yeah, mate. Gotta rate that. Oh, maybe we did talk about this thing because I feel like we've already referenced that interview, but I could be wrong. Um, but yeah,
so
no.
yeah, Spirit are looking good anyway. I mean, they've just acquired Shiro. I was saying to you earlier, I don't understand why he left Cloud9. Whether he wasn't happy with, don't know, with the call in. He wasn't happy with Perfecto and All Electronic coming over. I don't know why he's left, but he has. He's gone to another Russian team, and we'll see if this works out better than the Cloud9 squad. I mean, they look like they could do pretty good. I mean, they make a couple of other moves, or maybe even just another move, they could be a serious team.
Yeah, no, they look good, man. I think Donk's just fucking exciting as fuck to watch. So I think anyone with him at the moment, man, you're just gonna be excited to watch it and see how they perform. And so
Yeah, he's just. Do you know what's funny? The way he plays. This wasn't used to describe him, but this is the way I would describe him. Someone described Robs as a bot, but
did
it
they?
made me think like in a good way.
Oh, what?
Like
Like he's so good, he's just like a bot.
yeah,
Like top. Yeah.
like he's like aimbot.
Right. Got. Yeah.
Mechanically, he's so good. It's like Russia have made an AI that plays Counter Strike. He's just
Yeah.
like ridiculous, like the way he just mechanically, like he's just such a good player. And it made me think when someone described Robs as that, it's like you could call someone like a robot or a bot in Counter Strike, and it could be an insult or it could be a massive like
Could be the other way.
compliment.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, I mean, depends what level the bot is, right? Which type of bot you are? Are you a bot? Uh,
aimbot,
or whatever. There's always like one bot on the server if you've got
bot like me that just runs around looking at the floor.
no, like if you actually got like actual bots, and there's always one that's like really good. The rest are shit. You know, like a bot
Yeah.
Daryl or someone. Daryl that's
Yeah.
just taking your heads off. Well, look, I think that completes Rostermania again. Okay, no. You suspect now with the next big thing being the major, the first ever Counter Strike 2 major, these teams are all settling down now and just getting into the swing of working out what's good for them and stuff. So you do hope that. I hope WrestleMania is finished for a bit. I just feel like I need a mental break from working out what's going on with all this stuff. But I'm sure there'll be a few more changes.
Yeah, I feel like Counter Strike 2 came. Everyone's still trying to figure things out, and people have been going crazy before the major. And I think now it will settle down. What a lot of teams have been doing is, like we mentioned earlier, trying to get this free team core so they can, like Falcons have, so they can get into the major because that's what everyone wants. You mentioned to me earlier, Thomas, he's now back on to Into the Breach, just so they can get in the major because he was benched for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So just before we move on, we've got in the RMRs, the Europe RMRs anyway, Mont, G2, Into the Breach, Guild Eagles, who we mentioned have been playing shit. They were Bad News Eagles. Gamer Legion, who did really well. They still got the three-man core. They must do. FaZe, Apex, NIP, Falcons, Enter, Vitality.
Okay. Yep.
So we've got a few teams that you could just throw away in there, to be honest with you. Um, not too exciting. I mean, you got FaZe and Vitality. The rest of them, Falcons will be interesting.
Yeah, I think Falcons definitely like this. Basically, slightly better rents. What's not to like?
Yeah. Yeah, G2 are there as well, but the rest of them, yeah, you could probably just put in the bin and crack on. So yeah, that's the majors. When's that taking place?
I want to say the closed qualifiers starts maybe second week of Jan. The RMR's a bit later.
Yeah, RMRs is mid-Feb.
Yeah, so it'd be the closed qualifiers to get into the RMRs, where the likes of Heroic and all that are in there. But that'll be interesting to see because everyone's going to be fucking trying hard. It's mental the process really. You have to if you don't make the RMRs, you got to do closed qualifiers to get into the RMRs. Then you got to do the RMRs to get into the main major. It's a lot of work for these guys. Like, no wonder by the end of the year they all just feel a bit burnt out. I mean, I feel burnt out talking about it for the whole act because this has been our first proper year doing it. So no wonder these guys playing it are just like, at the end of the year, you're like completely done. Some pious tweeted saying, "I'm burnt out, ready for break. See you in January," because they just have so much of this stuff to do. But yeah. With that in mind, I think we should. We had this idea. We were going to do it as a separate video, but time and life and just haven't had a chance to do it. But I thought, well, we thought it'd be a good idea to award some awards for our kind of teams of the years, players of the years, and things. And again, this was meant to be a bit more flushed out and organised, but hey ho, it is what it is. We're having beers, we're chilling. Last podcast of the year, who cares? And actually, when we were talking about this just a minute ago, we already started disagreeing, so it's probably good that we just keep it like this at a podcast debate forum rather than a YouTube video or something like that. But the casuals end of year awards, okay? So let's have a little. We won't actually spend too much time on this. We've been going already 33, 34 minutes, right? So we can talk about. I did some categories. I did IGL of the year, Young Player of the Year, who I put as someone that was under 21, Player of the Year, and Team of the Year. I kept it quite simple. I did have more. I started going mad, man. I was just like, I had AWP of the Year, I had Rifle of the Year, I had like Talent of the Year, Competition of the Year. So like, I don't know, did we enjoy Bet Boom or? And then I was just like, this is stupid. We could, this is a full-on job here. Stop. So I kept it simple with just IGL of the Year, Young Player of the Year, Player of the Year, and Team of the Year. So let's start with. I know I did these in rank of what I thought would be the most important last. So I put Team of the Year last. So which I actually think Player of the Year might be the most important. So let's start with IGL of the Year, okay? And in each category, I had done 5 nominees. Actually, in the last one I added 1, so I've made it 6. But in each category I did 5 nominees, but these are my nominees. And I think you actually might agree or disagree with some of these. So, IGL of the Year, my nominees are for Apex, Some Die Young, or SDY, Karrigan, Snappy, and Shui. So first of all, any thoughts, any comments or anything? That's just the nominees.
No, I kind of agree with the nominees. The
only actual one I might have thrown in there.
Go on.
Is James from Virtus Pro maybe, because Virtus Pro had a good year. So maybe he might get overlooked sometimes just because of the style of play. That would be my only comment on my own list of nominees.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I don't know if you could put Hooksy in there, but probably not looking at those 5. No, the only thing I disagreed with was if this was in order. Which
yeah,
I don't know
no, it wasn't.
So if you had to give the award to someone, who's your in-game leader?
My in-game leader of the year, and this hurts me to say because Karrigan's in the nominee list, is actually Apex of Vitality.
Yeah, that's where I disagree. I feel like for me, it's Snappy.
Okay.
Purely because I wouldn't say, he's accomplished more, but I think he's done more with less than Apex has. Vitality squad, if you take the in-game leaders out of Ents and Vitality, Vitality are a better team by far.
I agree. I agree. I just think they actually had a bit of a change recently with the team members losing, uh, bringing in Mezzi for Magisk and still won, so that kind of tipped it a bit. But I just find that because there was only one major of the year, and because it was the transition to Counter Strike 2 and all that, they won that major, right? So I just feel like it's such a big thing to win the major. So and I think Apex has been such a big part of all these wins where I don't know. I just felt like Apex would tip
Yeah.
it for me, but I do think Snappy's a definite.
I wouldn't argue it too strong because I do. I mean,
It
I
could
would
go either
argue it,
way, I guess.
but I would. I wouldn't. I don't want to take anything away from Apex. He's a good in-game leader. I just think when someone accomplishes a lot and it's unexpected with a kind of unexpected roster, I'm like, okay, they're fucking overperforming. They must be good, especially for an in-game leader to do that with a squad, or even Shuhei to do it with Mouse. I mean, Mouse are a good team as well, but
Mm.
you've got you've got Zywoo, Spinks, Flames. They're just Magist. They're just a sick team. Vitality just like stacked. So you only need a good in-game leader. You don't need a great in-game leader. Whereas for Ents to do what they did, and they were beating some good teams. They
Well, that interesting. They but Ents have been consistent, and Snappy's. You saying he's doing like done more with less basically, but Snappy's had that consistent core throughout pretty much. Whereas Apex has actually had to. He had Dupree at first, didn't he? Don't forget. Dupree out Flamesy in. They still won some
oh
stuff. Then they
oh
then they had to
oh sorry
move on
Apex.
from Magisk.
How have you managed to do
I
this
know,
with such
Flamesy sick now as well.
yeah, it's like you're just getting sick players, and it's like, oh, yeah, but he's had new players. It's like, yeah, so what? Yeah,
Then he lost
I've gone,
then he lost the
I've
first
gone
coach
from
of the world.
I know you don't know basketball that well, so it's like saying, oh, I've lost LeBron James, but I've got Michael Jordan, and I've still won. Oh, well done.
Yeah, and then he lost Magisk and brought in Mezzi. And Mezzi's actually not that good now. Now I've just decided.
What are you
Magisk,
about?
rather Magisk than Mezzi.
They're like Mezzi's like their plug-in player.
All
He
I'm,
is their plug-in player.
all I'm saying is, it's a well-deserved IGO of the year from the casuals to Apex.
Right, fair enough. Get your award ready.
Also, he's French. Makes everything harder.
Yeah.
Just insult France. Okay, but I do agree. Snappy could easily be a close second. And if it had been a Counter Strike 2 year, probably Carrigan. Do you know what? I think it should be shared equally between Apex, Carrigan, and Snappy now.
Right, just shut up. I've won you over. Right, move on.
Young Player of the
Young
Year.
player of the year.
So these are players who are under 21. Or 21 and under? I don't know. The nominees I put Donk, obviously, Wonderful, Jim Fat, or Jim Yap, Jim Fat, Munacy, and Flamesy. That's pretty fucking.
Okay.
That's pretty sick under. That's a sick young team, innit? If you just had that as your team, how good would that be? Who would IGL in that team?
I would take Wonderful out and put Shuhei in.
Okay.
I think
Great
Shuhei
shout
should be in
then.
that.
But how old's Shui then? Hang on,
I don't know.
quickly
Is
check
he over
on.
21?
He's 21. Okay, fine. But that's a great shout. Yeah, I don't disagree.
Yeah, I would have had him in there.
So who's
just because for an in-game leader, man, Shuey is sick.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
done so much with Mouse, and for young player of the year, I just don't want to go off frags and
we like to give it a
obvious
bit more,
ability.
don't we? We like a bit.
Shuey as an in-game leader at such a young age, even more credit to him. Like for people like Donk taking heads at 16, yeah, that's amazing. But to actually lead a team and lead it in Tier 1 Counter Strike is hats off to him. Like, so much respect for him for doing that.
In which case, we've definitely made it 21 and under then for this category. But I don't disagree. I think that's a good addition to the nominees list, and he should be recognised. So if that's so, let's just add him as a sixth almost. So whatever. Who would be your winner of actual Young Player of the Year?
For me, probably Monacy. I think he's not done too much recently, but he's had so much hype throughout the year. I don't just want to look at the last couple of months or so. I want to look at the whole year, and he's been sick. He's done really, really well. He's dipped now and again, but that dip's been for like a game or two, and he's phenomenal. Like, I was listening to someone the other day, can't remember who it was now, and they were saying his his reactions are insane. His as soon as something is on his screen, his reaction to it is just insane, and it is some of the shots he pulls off. That 5K we posted on our highlight video, you can see it in the YouTube. Some top 5 plays from the major, was it?
I can't remember if it's major. Maybe
Top,
it was
top
at
5
some form of
plays.
tournament. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, his ace he got was ridiculous. The guy's phenomenal. So just purely because of on a skill basis, I would give it to him.
Okay, interesting. Well, mine was gonna be Donk just because it's just fucking brilliant and 16. But it could be actually. Sorry. My wife just came in to say could that throw me up. Based on what
Are you stuck in the moment though? Because
definitely.
Donk's
Okay, yeah. So
playing
based
really
on
well
what
now.
so based on what you're just saying and looking at the whole year, then it would be Yimfat then actually because he's fucking been quality all year. Mouse have been sublime as a team. He's been consistent performer for them. He's the way he plays is quality. So it'd be split between the two, Donk or Yimfat for me, man. I think those two deserve. One of them deserves it. Someone else can choose, but. So basically, we're doing 5 nominees and we're ending up with 3 winners so far in 2 categories, split between us.
Yeah, I mean we'd argue all day otherwise. So
Yeah, it's
or
true.
I would just roll over and be like, you just choose whatever.
Yeah, just give up.
Probably 3 in there somewhere.
Maybe okay. Should we do? Let's do normal player of the year, I guess. Who I put Munacy in my nominees again here, but my nominees were Zyru, Rops, Elige, Frozen, and Munacy.
So can I just say, while your whole argument is flawed, because you've just said I would have Jim Fat as my young player of the year,
Yeah.
but he isn't in your top 5 players of the year, but Monacy is.
I know. It is flawed. It's all completely backwards. Who knows what's going on? Did you not ever see that in like the football? Yeah, you know, not big in football, but they do that in the football players of the years or something. Like young player will be like whoever it is, I don't know, someone young, and then that player would be like the best, like Haaland, let's say, who's really young, and then he'll have like the best year ever, score like the most goals ever, but then he won't be in Player of the Year because they're like, well, we've included him in that one, so we don't include that. So I don't know why I've done it.
Well,
Anyway,
you've done one, so that argument's out. So, for me, this is a pretty easy one. I mean, I would struggle between what you've put on your list here at 1 and 2. But for me,
so Zyru and Rops, between Zyru and
yes,
Rops. I mean,
But
I think there's
Zyru.
only one.
yeah, it's Zyru. Yeah.
It is what it is. What can you say? The guy is fucking won the major. They're just winning now again. He's getting MVPs. I think he's like 2 or 3 MVPs off simple now. Like major, like land
Guy's a
competition.
joke.
He's
And I
a
think
joke.
this time next year we're still going to be saying the same thing. I think he's the new GOAT.
I think so, and I think the problem here was that you always had simple doing his thing. And Zyru started later and is younger and got pretty good at the online era, so people kind of discredited him. But now he's just doing it at LAN. So you're like, well, it's not much. when his first couple of CS2 games as well, I feel like we were a bit unsure, and now it's like we're not unsure. It's pretty fucking
Yeah,
good. Like he knows what
yeah.
he's doing, right?
But I
Um,
like that you put those other players there, just kind of like a tip of the hat to those other guys, just to say you
yeah.
guys are all sick.
Well, I think Liege has been sick this year. Rops obviously has been really good. Again, there is some recency bias with Counter Strike 2, and we almost forget that half of
Well,
the year
Rob's
was
a
played
sick
CS:GO.
player in
Yeah,
general.
of
I mean,
course.
FaZe have done well. They had a bit of a blip at the end of CS:GO, but Robs is a sick player. But yeah, Zairu, I think we both agree.
Yeah,
He's
fair
he's
play, man.
definitely
He's
yeah.
the boy. Um, Team of the year. So, my nominees are Vitality, FaZe, Ents, Mouse. I then had Spirit in there because of pure hype for the last 3 months. But the recency bias that you're pointing out has made me rethink that, I guess. So, what would be your? Surely we are on the same page with the top four: Vitality, FaZe, Ents, Mouse. Are we? For the
And
team of the year?
FaZe, Mouse, G2. Um,
Something doesn't want me to include G2.
Heroic.
Yes, I guess.
Heroic. And I know they've completely fell apart, and they're so far from this list now. But throughout the year, Heroic have been there all
So
year.
your argument for nominations for team of the year would be more likely Vitality, FaZe, Ents, Mouse, Heroic.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that is a fair comment.
Yeah, because yes, they have fallen off, but this isn't an award of like the last 3 months. This is an award for the whole year. So Heroic have to be there, man. They've done a lot and they deserve credit for it.
Okay, I'll give you that. So who would be the best? Who would win? Who would be the best team? Who? Because I think I think there is one clear winner. But who would you?
Yeah, I think I agree. Vitality.
Yeah, it's hard to ignore, isn't it? After everything they've done.
Yeah, because originally, we kind of had a bit of a conversation about this, and I was like, yeah, but you can't just go off recency bias. And
Yeah, but mate,
I looked into it,
you
and
look
they've
back.
been good all year.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
you look back. They
have.
won IEM Rio first in April this year. Then obviously the major. Then they came second at Blast Finals, Spring ones. Then they won Games 8. Then they didn't perform at Pro League, which Mouse won, and Sydney, which FaZe won. Then they just won Blast Falls and Blast World Final. So they've been pretty on it, right? It's only been in the last 3 months that FaZe have really done much as well. Although FaZe won the earlier Pro League in the year because there was 2 seasons Pro League. Ents, they just won IEM Dallas. When you actually look back at what they've done, Mouse, they only won Pro League. That's it. Um,
It's not just about winning for me though. It's about consistency as well. Like if they're
well,
there,
well,
if they're there, do you know what I mean? Like
I
they're
agree.
in the quarters, semis, finals.
No, Vitality, without a shadow of doubt, won the most anyway, and been up there
Yeah,
as well. And actually, the other team is G2 that won Cologne and Cato, as well as being there or thereabouts. So actually, G2 probably make more of an argument than someone like a FaZe to be like second on that top team. It's just they're just fucking annoying at the moment. It's just not that fun to pick. But yeah, no, Vitality are definitely our team of the year, right? So
yeah.
fair play. Are there any other shout outs you'd want to do for any of these? I mean, that concludes our end of year awards. So
No, I think you've done some good categories there, and I think, like you were saying before, it would have been too many if you did others. I think to shout out to sum up the year, to shout out, I think Heroic needs a little bit of credit. Heroic and Cadian, just for doing so well, need a little bit of a mention. When I'm just theorizing this year, they need a shout out because they've done so well. Vitality in general because they're just sick, and Zyru just for being the best player. Um, Monassi, I do think that's a great one for the young player of the year, and I feel like we've hit everyone. The in-game leaders, you could argue between Carrigan, Apex, and Snappy, and even Shuey. You know,
Mm.
maybe not Carrigan. I don't know actually. You could throw Carrigan in there just because they were so good. He had a little bit of a blip at the end of CS:GO, and then he's done really well again at the end. So, but yeah, I think Heroic are easy to forget because of the state of them now. But them and Cadian done really well. I mean, at the end of 2022, I'm pretty sure they were top going into this year. So they need some credit because they're easy to forget, and they're done now. So it's kind of like an end of an era. That was like well done, Heroic. You know that they were a good team. They're not, you know, uh, an era-defining team, but they had a good run. So fair play, Heroic, and rip.
Fine. Well, I think, yeah, that probably does conclude our podcasts for the year. I think the next big event is the quote close qualifiers for the major, but then also IEM Katowice, so it's actually end of January as well. And there's some the Blast Spring Group stuff, which is just qualifications to other Blast stuff. But yeah, it's going to be a January return for us. When exactly that will be, we'll make a plan. But I guess also thank you for like absolutely everyone that's actually listened to us this year, because this has been our first full year doing this. Yeah, hope you enjoy it. We welcome any feedback. Apologies if this has been a bit lackluster. We are tired. I'm tired. I
Yeah,
don't
it's been a
know.
long couple of weeks for us both. But now, yeah, I second everything you said, man. It's been a sick year, and I've enjoyed doing this podcast. I mean, like we said, we're not doing it for the listeners. Like, well, we are, but we're not doing it solely for that. We're doing it because we enjoy it,
Yeah, yeah.
and we
We're
enjoy
not
the
doing it for you,
game.
not. Cool. All right. Well, look, it's time to say goodbye. I've just realised again, because I'm doing this on a laptop from my in-laws, that I don't actually have the end screen loaded for some reason, so I can't transition into the end screen. So all we'll do, we'll sign off with a wave. Wave
Oh,
early.
nice.
Oh,
Oh, and have a good Christmas, everyone,
have a good
and a
Christmas
new
and New
year.
Year. Yeah, be good. Bye.
Bye bye.